The events of that Halloween night cling to my thoughts, etching terror into my memory, taking my 9-year-old sister, Tella. Trick-or-treating seemed like harmless fun. We ventured through the neighborhood until the streets grew quiet, the darkness cloaking us in an unsettling silence. We found ourselves in a desolate part of the neighborhood, with rows of houses ominously darkened. The cold night air and the later nudged me to call it a night, but there, at the end of the street, one house glimmered with lights and extravagant decorations. I hesitated, ready to head home, but Ella pleaded for one last stop. With reluctance, I agreed, setting a strict rule that this was the final house, no exceptions. As we approached, a figure loomed in the yard, obscured by the darkness. He noticed us and hurried inside, leaving an uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. My instincts screamed to leave, but an inexplicable force seemed to propel us toward the house. We stood at the front steps, and before I could react, Ella darted up, eager for candy. Darkness descended abruptly, swallowing the vibrant Halloween decorations whole. The man, dressed as Michael Myers, emerged silently, a foreboding presence on the porch. His silent stare pierced through me, a chill running down my spine, a gut-wrenching feeling signal that this wasn't a Halloween scare. Without warning, he lunged for Ella, his actions far from playful. A surge of panic gripped me as I pulled her away. The man stumbled down the steps, and seizing the opportunity, I grabbed Ella's hand, screaming for help as we fled. Our frantic screams roused the neighbors, drawing them out of their houses. The assailant, a distorted figure resembling Michael Myers, retreated into the darkness. We raced to safety, phoning our parents and the police. The trail of footprints from the house, through the snow, and into the woods offered a chilling path. An abandoned house with a history of squatters added layers to the horror. Speculation emerged that the man might have been an ex-convict, recently released after a long prison stint for heinous crimes. The relentless nightmares plagued me, replaying that horrifying encounter. The unknown terror hidden behind that Michael Myers mask looms large in my mind, a grotesque figure with sinister intent that nearly snatched my sister away. It's a haunting reminder of how close we came to a nightmare, turned reality, a brush with a malevolent force that could have shattered our lives in an instant. The unanswered questions linger, leaving a lingering fear that shadows even the brightest days, a fear of the unknown and what might have been. That night still haunts me, lingering in the shadows of my mind, a chilling memory etched into my consciousness. It all began like any other night, a late evening stroll in my serene neighborhood. I often took walks at night, finding solace in the quietude and relief from the scorching daytime temperatures. The street, usually devoid of any souls at that hour, wrapped around the residential area. My routine took me down the familiar paths, the dimly lit sidewalks guiding my way. The street lights grew sparse, casting elongated shadows, creating an eerie atmosphere. On one such stroll nearing 10 p.m., I traversed down an empty street, heading towards the intersection. That's when an ominous sound broke the stillness, the faint hum of an approaching vehicle. Initially, I paid it no heed, assuming it would pass like any other car, but it didn't. The car, moving with eerie sluggishness, drew closer behind me, its unseen driver navigating the silent streets feeling the weight of unease settle in my chest. I quickened my pace, hoping to distance myself from the creeping vehicle. The surroundings grew darker, the feeble street lights casting feeble glows. A sense of foreboding gripped me as the car matched my pace, its presence looming unsettlingly close. My heartbeat quickened, instinct demanded caution. I halted, deliberating my next move. When I turned to retrace my steps, the car mirrored my actions. Ceasing alongside me, panic surged a cold wave of terror. Swiftly, I sought refuge, sprinting towards the nearest house. Hoping for sanctuary, I pounded on the door, frantic for aid, my heart racing as I explained the sinister pursuit. The headlights vanished in a hurried frenzy, screeching tires marking its escape. Relief washed over me as I stood in the warm glow of the stranger's porch, grateful for their response. With newfound assurance, I bid the kind stranger goodbye and resumed my journey homeward. Yet a nagging fear lingered, a prickling unease. The street lights illuminated my path as I hurried, scanning my surroundings for any sign of the ominous car. 100 feet from my haven, a familiar dread surfaced, the distant sight of the car, ominously approaching at a snail's pace. Without a moment's hesitation, I sprinted, cutting through my front yard, racing towards the haven of my doorway, fingers trembling. I fumbled with the lock, finally securing entry. A glance through the window revealed the car's slow passage, a haunting reminder of the night's ordeal. Inside, the sense of safety was overwhelming, yet questions gnawed at me. Who was behind that mask? What did they want? I vowed to forsake my nighttime strolls, the specter of that car haunting my thoughts, urging me to abandon the comfort of the night. That night altered my routines, shrouding the once familiar tranquility of the night with an unsettling dread. The unknown figure behind the wheel lingers in my thoughts, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the veil of night. Darkness has a way of magnifying the smallest sounds, turning every creak and rustle into an ominous whisper. I had learned to appreciate the tranquil nights in my modest house, nestled near the edge of town, its backyard bordered by dense woods. But one encounter shattered that serenity, plunging me into a chilling saga that I could never have foreseen. It began with a simple task, selling off the remnants of the previous owner's belongings that cluttered my basement. A casual post on Facebook Marketplace brought silence for days, until a peculiar message arrived from a stranger named Adam. His words, disturbing and oddly familiar, danced between casual conversation and alarming threats. Brushing it off initially, I dismissed it as internet chatter until the threats grew more menacing. In the safety of my home, I reported and blocked Adam, a feeble attempt at reclaiming control. As days passed, the incident faded into the background, replaced by the mundane rhythm of life. Another attempt to sell the remaining furniture drew interest, the dresser being the final item up for grabs. A message from a profile named Ren grabbed my attention. We arranged for the purchase of the dresser that very evening. As the clock struck 8 p.m., a foreboding silhouette of a dark van parked in front of my house marked Ren's arrival. Descending to the basement to greet him, a sense of discomfort coiled within me. Alone with a stranger in the confines of my home, a chill sliced through me. Ren, a man with a serious demeanor, inspected the dresser cursorily, a thin veil of unease clouding the air. Together, we hoisted the heavy furniture towards the stairs, Halfway up, an ominous pause, Ren's demeanor shifted, his face etched with a malevolent intent. With horrifying precision, he shoved the dresser downward, a deathly cascade of wood and heft plummeting towards me. Instinct propelled me to the side, narrowly dodging the dresser's crushing impact. Gasping for air, pinned by its weight, I was trapped. Panic seized me as Ren descended, the malevolent intent dripping from his face. Desperate, I dialed 911, my voice ricocheting through the basement as a lifeline to salvation. Time crawled agonizingly as Ren loomed closer. My heart pounding in terror, the phone call became my only beacon of hope. Frightened yet determined, I screamed that help was on the way, a desperate plea aimed at dissuading the assailant. In a frenzy, Ren's hurried footsteps receded, leaving me trapped under the dresser, grappling with terror and the haunting silence. Moments stretched into eternities as I struggled to free myself from the wooden prison. Eventually, with sheer willpower, I wriggled free and staggered up the stairs to the approaching sirens of the police. In the aftermath, the authorities disclosed Ren's arrest and his subsequent charges, yet there lingered an unsettling thought: the eerie coincidence between the menacing online messages and the chilling attack, a sinister link that felt more than mere chance, a gut feeling insisting that the online threat and Ren's assault were inexplicably intertwined. As the days passed, I grappled with the unanswerable. Was Adam's sinister cyber shadow somehow connected to Ren's menacing presence? The lingering uncertainty hovered, a shadowy specter casting doubt on the true nature of the assailant's identity. The ordeal left me haunted, wary of the hidden dangers that lurked behind virtual screens and tangible encounters, forever questioning the inexplicable twist of fate that had plunged me into this nightmarish labyrinth.